Inside the recording studios, Friday finds. This is number 9. I am Jody Whitesides. With me is Mr. Chris Hellstrom, and this is our little special edition on Fridays where we like to tell you about things that we have discovered this past week that we think you should know about and you should obtain, hopefully in very positive manners. Chris, what do you have for us today?
Today, I have something that I actually recently rediscovered.
Oh,
so
my.
I'm kind of tweaking the concept here a little bit.
Woo, you just threw me for a complete loop. Now my intro sucks.
I know, right? Do it again. No, but my pick is a Tube Screamer plugin by a company called TSE Audio. And their plugin TSE 808.
You know what? I actually know that plugin. That's a nice plugin.
It is cool. Yeah. I'm a guitar player. You're a guitar player, amongst other things.
Sometimes.
Yes, sometimes. It can just do wonders sometimes to just kind of tighten up your tone a little bit, putting that thing before your amp emulation or whatever you're using. Most people have kind of played through a Tube Screamer. If you're a guitar player, certainly if you're a rock guitar player. I like this one. And extra bonus, it's a freebie. So
that's even better. How much better can that get? Because it doesn't take you any of your hard-earned ducats to get the darn thing.
And at that price, you can afford not to like it. But
don't tell TSE that, though. That's not
No.
nice.
It is a really, really good little software plugin. I like it. So my pick this week is TSE 808 by TSE Audio.
All right. Well,
what about you? What do you got for us?
I'm taking a look at another trip down Eventide Lane. Ooh. This week, I am going to say, hey, with the Eventide H9 plugin series, which is kind of their new thing that they've been doing to kind of bring you their hardware H9 into little bit bite-sized pieces that you can use in your DAW. And
nice.
This week's plugin discovery in that regard is the Eventide H9 Spring, otherwise known as Spring. Now, what does Spring mean? Well, if you're a guitar player, chances are it means spring reverb.
Right.
Because amps used to come with their own built-in reverbs long before the digital age, where it was a spring or a couple of springs wrapped up inside the casing that they would run the signal through, and then you'd get this funky spring sound that was kind of like a reverb. This plugin recreates that in a really awesome fashion. It literally, we were like going down and I was playing around with it just this morning when we were talking just before recording. I was like, ooh, God, that sounds really like a spring reverb just by hitting a couple of different presets. It's amazing how good the recreation is on the spring thing. Now, being that it is software and it is a recreation of an algorithm that is in the H9 pedal, this goes well beyond the concept of just having like 2 or 3 little springs wrapped up in a little metal box inside of an amplifier. So you can change how much of the signal is going through for your mix. You can change how long the springs are going to last on the reverb. So you can get a much more extended reverb sound out of the spring with the decay. You can change how tight the springs are in terms of their tension, which is kind of interesting. You can change the number of springs that ranges anywhere from 1 to 3, because most amps had somewhere in that regard. When you had the spring reverbs built into amps, they either had 1, 2, or 3 springs in there. You can also control how much of low end is coming through your springs, how much high end is coming through in terms of like if you're going to damp them or let them ring wide open as springs can be done. You can change the intensity of how intense the spring is going to affect the sound. You can change the speed at which the springs vibrate.
So you're saying it's pretty flexible.
It's pretty darn flexible. You can add some modulation to it, and you can change the amount of resonance, which to my mind is kind of like changing the size of the actual spring wire that's in there. You can also determine whether or not you want the reverb to happen pre or post the sound, in terms of, actually, I take that back. That's not pre or post the sound, because that would be weird. You can't be pre your sound. But they do have like the size of the casing that goes around the springs too, whether it's really tight on the spring, so it's small, or large. Yeah. So yeah, it's quite impressive what this plugin can do in terms of like the variance of what you can change with the springs and how it reacts to the sound. So spring reverb, if you are looking for a spring reverb, this is your plugin. Go get the H9 Spring by Eventide. Cool. And there it is. That's my Friday find.
All right. Yes. Well, that's mine too. TSE 808 from TSE Audio.
And we will see you next week with our next Friday find.